session, and then I'll connect with you after the session is over. Yes, Byron?
Okay, thank you very much.
Perfect. All right. I'm just starting the meeting. What is happening? Hi, Priya. Can you come here in this room? Are you very far? This orange room, my session's starting, but this is okay. Yes, no problem. Okay. Okay, thanks. Bye. Okay, Byron, we're live.
Good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the New Age Finance and Accounting Summit organized by Kalish Times. I hope you are having a good time and making the most use of the networking lounge that is open for all the delegates. And I hope you meet the partners and make some very meaningful business connections. I would like to thank our official RPA partner, Blue Prism, exclusive business intelligence partners, MicroStrategy, strategic partner, SAP Concur, and silver sponsor, Oracle, for showing massive trust in our capabilities. For this particular session on Viewpoint of a Digital CFO, Embracing Digital Innovation, I would like to call BYRON FLORES, all the way from Spain. He's the global head of digital finance of Novartis. To talk about the finance BYRON is leading the digital transformation agenda for finance in one of the biggest pharma companies in the world. He comes with an extensive experience in finance as a CFO in Netherlands and several positions in America. Let's hear it from BYRON.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation. I know that I have no a lot of time, so I will start with the presentation. Afterwards, we are going to have a space for your question, and I will try to answer the same. Okay. Before the first slide, right? Maybe you had the chance to check my experience, but if not, I am not a techie or let's say a person with a lot of experience in digital. I didn't have this kind of experience, right? My experience was based in finance, and I think that now after 1 year I have been in the position, the reason that the company is trying to put people that have business or finance experience in this kind of position is to link the technology with the reality in the markets or in the field, right? As you mentioned before, I was the CFO in the Netherlands, and I learned a lot of things there. And I came here, I found a lot of nice stuff to have. And I had a lot of questions because my first impression when the company Novartis was adopting this kind of technologies is if we are sure about this, or there is only trendy topics, right? If we are only doing this because others are doing this, or because it's nice to have, or is because the competitors are doing something similar, so we need to jump into this technology. So I'm saying this because my presentation will be focused in the way that the CFOs and CEOs think about this kind of project, right? And the way that you can convince them how to use these technologies. And also, if you are a CFO or if you are a CEO, you can also have this kind of question for your teams before you embrace this kind of projects. I know that these projects are quite expensive at some point. They have a lot of resources involved. You need to involve people. You need to involve another kind of resources as a focus on this thing. So you need to be sure that the thing that you are doing are quite important. So as a CFO or CEO, you need also to have questions, and this presentation will help you as well to have this question to ensure that the things that you are doing are quite important and will have a business implication. So then going to the presentation and with this background, the basic high level question that you need to have before implementation of AI or other kind of technology, the first one that is the most important one is that if you have a real business need or it's a trendy topic, right? Because at some point people try to jump to this technology because it's what it is, right? And it's everything should be done because everyone is doing this kind of things, but it's not the case. You need to be sure that you have a real business need to solve before you jump on that. And you will see, right, if you are a CFO or CEO and you ask this question, sometimes the question is open and people should come back with the answer because they are not sure what are the real business needs they will solve. If we see the leaders in this kind of technologies like Amazon, Google, they before they embrace with partnership and so on, they need to know what are the business needs that they will solve. And this is really, really important. Could be that you will improve your processes, could be that you will reduce your costs, could be that you will increase your sales, but you need to have a clear purpose in your mind before you embrace in this kind of things. The other thing that is really important is if you have a map of the process. Sometimes, let's put it this way, most of the times people think that technology will solve everything. So if you need to accelerate the process, technology. If you need to fix a thing that is not working well, technology. But it's not the case. Sometimes it's another kind of things, or maybe the technology could solve the problem, but you need a process before. So be sure that you have the process map and you are identify the parts that the technology will cover. If not, you can have surprises in the future. Because I have experience here in Novartis that we embrace in this kind of projects, and as soon as we jump into the project, because you know we are, and I will cover that in a few, we have some external parties, right, that will support us with this. We need to put on hold the project because we need to fix the process before to receive the new technology, right? So it's really, really important to have this. And last but not least, and it's really crucial, is the data, right? Is the data available? If you will go to AI or whatever technology, you need to be sure before that you have the data. And the data is quite valuable and is quite useful, because if not, you need to fix the data before. There are a lot of technologies like SQL and this kind of stuff that can help you with the data. But if the data is not there and you don't have the sources very mapped and very straightforward, it's quite difficult to embrace on this. I know that the data is not the most sexy topic in the world, right? It's not that nice to fix data and to clean data. It's not that nice, right? It's not that appealing for the people, but it's really, really important. You could see outside, right, that now we have this kind of position like digital data officer or digital information officer or information officer, data officer, because the companies are aware that this process is really important. Not only to have data available, but how to safeguard the data, how to steward this data, and how to embrace the data in our daily life is really, really important. So if we move to the next slide, we have a lot of trends, right? And in this, I see the agenda of this event, and you already covered a lot, but I will try to cover the big trends that we have in the industry today, right? We know a lot of detail because we don't have time, but I will give a glance what is there of the trends that we can consider, especially in finance, right? That this is the thing that I'm working in. Big data, right? Everyone is producing data. In the past, you know, we have very specific information to map. Now, if you are running, you can track your time using data. If you are going to the supermarket, companies will track how many days in the week you are entered to the supermarket, at what time. So we are producing data every moment. So big data is a trend topic, but what the big data means. Is data that we can use for business purposes, right? Please don't confuse big data with every information that they're producing. And now I think that is something that the companies are struggling to define, right? If we are producing data, could be used as a big data, but if this data is not useful for business purposes, it's not big data, it's data per se, right? We need to have data that will be useful for business purpose. Shift to the cloud. Now with the COVID, we know that everything should be in the cloud. We cannot rely more in the specific or local platform, right? We need to have everything in the cloud to be quite handy, and then we can start to use it, right? Big companies like Amazon and Google are leaders in this arena. Internet of the Things, everything is connected to internet, right? If you just go to your home, you can have Alexa, this is the Amazon thing. If you want to watch a movie, you have in your phone, in your tablet, the platforms. If you want to, now even, right, you have this Tesla examples that when you can connect everything with your car, right? And your car will set everything. I am here now outside in Spain is quite warm, right? I can map my time that I will go out, and then the inside of the car will be cold, right? Let's put it this way. So everything is connected using the internet, right? And this is the Internet of the Things. Additive manufacturing, you know, right, that now with China and the problems that we have in terms of the COVID and in terms of the transportation of the things, we realize that the phone that we have as an example is manufactured in the battery is manufactured in the US, the screen is manufactured in China, and the operating system is done in the US, right? So everything is added to the manufacturing thing, and it's one trend that we need to consider as well, because before we take whatever kind of decision, we need to think in this kind of way. Security is important. You see the scandals that we had in the past for Twitter, the last one, right? Twitter with the coin, right? That they were asking coming from accounts from very famous people. Data, right? So you see that the security is quite important. Artificial intelligence, we will cover this in a few. And blockchain, right? Blockchain is not only currency, right? It's not only Bitcoin and Ethereum and this kind of things, right? Blockchain could be used also for security, to prevent frauds. You know, I don't have time here to cover this technology, but it's quite important to ensure that the things that you are doing are quite secure. So it is used, for example, in our company, we have good models in accounting, in audit, in compliance, because it's important. So here you have a lot of things, and if you start to think in one of the components of each of the technologies, we will never finish, right? Because it's amplious. But this is the thing that we are doing in Novartis, and this is one thing that you should consider when you are a CFO, or a CEO, to implement in your company. Again, right, and I will repeat this, if you have a business rationale behind. I will try to, yes, I'm seeing my screen. So if you are a CEO, a CFO, before you approve this project, or if you are a project manager and you are trying to get the approval, please consider these topics. I will not cover this in a lot of details, but I will try to be brief. You need to have a rational, strategic rationale, right? We already covered that. An opportunity size, and this is very, very important. Most of the times when I receive as a CFO, now I am in this part of the table, expectations are high, especially in technology, right? Especially after COVID, that people are trying to catch up and trying to think another way to do business. So you have a lot of expectation, but you need to be able to transmit what is the opportunity that you have. If you will solve the world with your project, it's okay. Please do it, but be specific. If not, you need to be specific, saying, I will go for this wave in this first part, and afterwards I will add more products, right? Because the expectations are quite important, especially if you are new on this, because if you elevate the expectation and if you are not able to close the expectation, it will hurt you a lot. You also need to know the investment level, but I highlight that you need to have the people involved as well, right? You couldn't work with your organization, because people are quite important. They know the business. If you will transform your business, you need involvement of business. I know that this is quite challenging, and we will cover this in a few, that people always think that you are doing this kind of efforts because you want to reduce the payroll, right? This is for sure. And payroll means the people, right? But could be, couldn't be, right? But the point is that you need to count with your team, and you need to count with the people to go through these technologies. The return of investment is clear. One important part is also, please ask for the risk. When you receive this proposal as a CFO, or if you are doing this proposal, you always forget, not you in your case, but people always forget the risk associated to the projects. Everything could fail, even that you have the best of the best plans, especially in this kind of technology that are quite new for all people, right? So you need to associate the risk, and also to have an action plan if the risk happens, a plan B, let's put it this way. If the system doesn't work, then I have this as a plan B, because you never know, right? The timelines is important. The tone of the top is really important. I have been in a lot of meetings when you present a nice project with a good business rational, with a lot of things, but if the top of the organization, I mean the CEO, or I mean the CFO of the division, whatever, these people are not engaged and they are not trying to push for the product, it's quite difficult to convince to the other. So it's very important to come with them. I suggest always to start with them to convince to other organization. If they are not convinced, I think that you will suffer to convince to everybody. And communication, right? People are curious outside, especially if you are talking about this kind of technology. So it's good to have this periodical communication to them, saying where you are. If you face challenge, please communicate that you are facing challenge, that you are delaying the project for whatever reason. It's important to be transparent, and it's important to have this kind of communication. In terms of the cultural topics that you need to consider as a CEO or CFO is, please, as we discussed, please focus on the communication, top of the top, but in engaging and not obligating, right? Of course, you could argue that if you are investing a lot of money, you need to have return, and you need to count with the participation of the people. But in this kind of project, when you need to think, you need to be creative. If you don't have people engaged and you are obligating them to do the things, I think that you will suffer, right? This is quite important to mention. You are not dealing with easy processes. You are transforming your business, so you need to engage people. They need to think, they need to challenge, they need to work with you. As I discussed, people motivation is crucial, but I will highlight the last point of the slide, that build capabilities for finance people. In finance, we didn't, because I couldn't say we don't, because we are working on that, but we didn't have the knowledge that the new technology will bring to the table, right? For example, in the forecasting part, we were used to do our forecasting with Excels and the projection graphs and so on, right? Now that we need to deal with artificial intelligence, machine learning, events, and so on, a lot of technical stuff, the finance people or the people in the business should also have at least the basic knowledge of the things to see the impact on the decision, right? And what kind of technology they can use to take the decisions. If you are producing a lot of reports, visualization, nice stuff, but if people are not aware of the uses of this, and they are not able to explain what is behind, I think that you will struggle, and also you are wasting your time and resources, because the business that you want to engage are not using the resources, right? So it's quite important. I will start to finish because I want to have time for questions and answer. For artificial intelligence, I will select this because it's the most disruptive one. You know what is artificial intelligence for sure. Sorry to repeat this quite definition, but you know, when you teach to the machine to reproduce or to think, right, you have artificial intelligence or machine learning. So if you think, and let's stick to the forecasting process, right? When you are forecasting using artificial intelligence, please keep in mind the following: is a co-creation exercise. It's not a one-man show. The data scientists could be there, but if they don't have the finance, business, etc. people involved, it's quite difficult for them. They are mathematical people, or they are people that are not focused on the business part, they have more experience in the science, right? So it's a co-creation exercise. All people should collaborate. You need to back test everything. What is back testing? When you prove the things that the computer is saying using the history, right? If the machine could do this in the past, what could be the result, right? Versus the actual result. And then you can back test. If you run the models, you need to back test if the models are working. This is really, really important. Don't take this for granted, because not all the algorithms are applicable for everything, right? It could be applicable for one country, but maybe for the other is quite different. So back test everything, right? Basic but important, garbage in, garbage out. Data is really important. If you don't have good data, you will not get anything from there. It's quite important. And again, right, culture and tone of the top. I will not be tired to say, please engage with your organization, and top of the tone is important. We are quite disruptive in this kind of process, and if they are not able to deliver, they are not able to engage with us and change, I think that we are in a big problem. So to close the meeting as a takeaways, because you know, we don't have a lot of time, but I want to give you and to keep 5 ideas of the presentation. If I can give you 5 messages that you can keep for yourself, I can give you these 5. The first one, right? The technology should have business rationale. As a CFO, it's your responsibility, or CEO, that everything that you approve or everything that you submit for approval should have a business rationale. If not, you are in the right to challenge to the partner, right, and come with this, because if not, you will suffer in the future, because you will not have the return that you are expecting. Please don't do this because it's trendy, because it's nice, because everyone is doing this, because if no, I will be an old-fashioned CFO. No, if you don't have a business rationale to apply this kind of technologies, please don't do it. If so, please do it quickly, right? The second message is, and takeaway is, you have a lot of possibilities. Be sure that you select the one that is more applicable to your business problem. Don't get into the trap that everything is for everyone. No. For example, in Novartis, we have robotics as a technology, right? But we have this very stick to some processes in the organization. We don't have this open for everything, right? Even that we see one or two of our competitors are doing things with robotics, we are not in this kind of technology because we really believe that they're not applicable for us. So as soon as you have the spectrum, please stick to the one that will got more benefits to you, right? The third message is, please ask for a robust business case, right, with agile methodology. Agile methodology means that you will be doing this with waste, right? No, as a final project, because if no, you will never move forward. But please ensure that you have a business robust case. It's not because it's bureaucratic, it's because it's important. You need to be sure that everything is at least mapped, including the risk, to move forward. Please don't underestimate the cultural part. This is the fourth idea that I want to tell you. Culture is important in this technology. We are always saying that we want to be a technology or digital driven organization, but sometimes we underestimate the meaning of these words. Last but not least, my last takeaway to you is, learning is part of the process. You will learn every day, because anyone or anything is perfect. Errors are allowed because we are trying, we are learning, but please don't repeat the errors. And it's one thing that I reinforce with my team, right? And the teams across the globe. Guys, we can have errors, but if we don't learn about the errors, we will get into the same trap. And it's quite tricky, right? Because you could say, I already learned that artificial intelligence is not a good thing now, right? Okay, good. This is the learning, or the learning could be, I need to ensure that I'm ready to use whatever technology that is available, fixing my data, and afterwards I can move to that. This is a different learning, right? Because maybe your learning is that you are not prepared and you need to prepare yourself. It's not that artificial intelligence is not a good thing for you. So you need to be sure that you are learning and the good lesson is there and you are not repeating the error, right? These are the 5 takeaways that I can give you with this short presentation, but now I will open for your questions as well.
Right. Thanks, Byron. Thank you very much. I have a lot of questions, but we don't have a lot of time. So I will just ask you one quick question. Uh, can you elaborate on blockchain and whether it's useful for SMEs? We have only 1 minute for this. So elaborate on blockchain and whether it's useful for SMEs, please.
Yes, remember that blockchain is the technology that you add security to your processes, right? Because every one of the blocks will have a security code, right? So if I only have 1 minute, I could say the application is you need to map all the blocks in the catalog that you have, right? As soon as they are mapped, then you can ensure that your processes are secure because anyone can, let's say, penetrate to these blocks is impossible. This is the beauty of this technology, right? But I encourage you to check this in the web. A lot of material there is a quite nice technology. You know, due to the currencies and the cryptocurrencies, people are quite afraid and they're saying that it's difficult, but it's not, right? And it's quite secure for fraud prevention, compliance, and accounting. I think that you are on mute.
Sorry.
Right, okay.
There are some questions that are still that the delegates have asked you, and most of them are very, very relevant. But I'm sorry, we're running out of time. So if you could please, I will tell you how to answer those questions. You can go in the chat box and answer those questions, and they will get a notification. And all the attendees, thank you very much for attending this session. The next session is already on the way, and it's for supply chain financing and project financing with a lot of people from very different countries and industries waiting for you. Just go on the right-hand side and you'll be able to see the session. And Byron, thank you very much for
Oh,
a
thank you.
fantastic and giving the time to all of us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Have a nice
Thank
one.
you very much. Thank you.